You can ask AI just about anything and get a quick, clear, concise answer. So, why does it feel like we still don't understand much? Why does it feel like we are living less clearly? Today, we're going to talk about how we're silently offloading our cognitive abilities to AI, and we're going to talk about how we can safeguard ourselves against accidentally, quietly, slowly giving away our humanity to computers. So last week we talked a little bit about AI and what's happening intellectually with AI. We talked about how it's creating attention fragmentation, constant stimulation, loss of silence and reflection, and how technology, specifically AI, is slowly reshaping how we think. And we introduced the concept of a tech diet. Today, we're going to dig a little more into what AI is doing to us. Specifically, we're going to talk about critical thinking and how we're not utilizing our own critical thinking skills and how we're offloading that to AI, and then and how that could be a problem. We'll look at a couple philosophers that touch on the importance of critical thinking, and then we will dig a little more into a tech diet. What would that look like? Carving out part of your day to focus upon critical thinking. Again, silence, contemplation, that type of thing. So let's first talk about the tension that we live within. We are in a day and time where we can't just get rid of computers. We can't just get rid of AI. The other thing is, we're not saying that AI in and of itself is bad. It's a tool, and just like any tool, that tool can be used for good or bad. In the same fashion, a hamburger is not necessarily good or bad. Fries and a shake are not good or bad, but if all you ever eat is hamburgers, fries, and shakes, that's honestly my favorite meal. I could eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner, hamburger, shake, and fries, and I would be just happy. Maybe substitute that with a pizza every now and then. But if you eat that all the time, that's unhealthy for you, right? You're going to begin to gain weight. You're going to be limited in mobility. You're going to cause cardiac issues. Your cholesterol will rise. There are going to be things occurring in your body that you are unaware of until it's too late, right? And so in a similar fashion, AI is doing the same to us. We are offloading a lot of our cognitive abilities to AI, and because of that, we are creating scenarios that we're unaware of that will, down the line, cause issues for us: mental issues, health issues, emotional issues, spiritual issues, physical issues. You could just go down the line. So what we are talking about is very serious, although right now you may not see the scenario you're creating and we are creating, right? I'm not above this or beyond this. I'm in this with you. So we do live in a tension, and that tension is that we live in a world that utilizes AI. It's become ubiquitous in our life, and yet some of us are starting to wake up and recognize that the AI is not the best thing to be used all the time. And so how do we engage with computers? How do we engage with AI, with the Claudes, the Chat GPTs, the Perplexities, the Geminis? How do we engage with them? And so first off, we're going to suggest that it's a tool. And so like any tool, we need to learn how to use that tool. And so first off, we have to understand that AI removes confusion. You can ask it a very quick question and it's going to give you a quick answer. It removes effort. It removes uncertainty. You can ask AI the best place to buy a TV, the most frugal option, the best quality option for cheap. You can ask AI who the president was in 1932. You could ask AI, what does the keto diet do to your body? You could ask AI, what would happen if we had a world war occur right now? What would the next 5 years look like, 10 years look like, 100 years look like? You could ask AI all of these questions, and it's going to quickly give you a response. And because of that, people are utilizing AI constantly for not just complex big questions, but also small questions. Small questions like, where should I go to eat tonight? I really want a great hamburger. Man, I need to get off hamburgers. Maybe I should have one, and that'll satisfy the craving. Or you'll ask AI, hey, I really like this type of TV show. What are some TV shows that I haven't seen that are in that vein? And so we're asking AI those type of questions. And then we're asking AI more complex questions. Like if you get your blood test, you get those results back. You just put that into AI, a ChatGPT or whatever, and say, what does this mean to me? Now, obviously, it's going to respond back, hey, first off, talk to your doctor. I should not be a replacement for your doctor. Those are stopgaps that they put in there. But it's going to tell you essentially what your blood results are, your blood test results are. And these are benefits. These are good things, but by utilizing AI so much, we're creating a dependency upon it. The more that we utilize the tool, the less we feel comfortable finding the answers to our questions through previous avenues. So I'm less likely to just Google search, or I'm less likely to pull up a book and say, who was the president, right? I'm less likely to go to the previous avenues because I'm using these. And that's not necessarily a bad thing when we're talking about tools. Typically, you want to leverage tools like that to help you. The biggest issue is intellectual outsourcing, meaning we are taking away the intellectual curiosity, the intellectual engagement, what it means to think through, process, sit with, meditate on concepts, questions, ideas, concerns. We are less challenged cognitively with new ideas, with ideas that are in disagreement with me. And because of that, we're just kind of taking whatever ideas we're given. We don't challenge as much. And so we're offloading, outsourcing that stressor on us, which we understand why, right? Any kind of stressor you want to get off. You don't enjoy that stress. The problem is the more that we offload that stress, the less we have the ability to utilize our brains in that intellectual capacity. It's much like on the space station, it's my understanding, I'm not an astronaut, but on the space station, they have exercise equipment, which is kind of a thing in and of itself. The physics of exercise equipment in space is shocking. It's really, really cool. But that's a whole nother conversation. So in space, they have to utilize exercise equipment because with the lessening effects of gravity, because you're in space, you have to create resistance. Because when you're walking around on the Earth, you have resistance because of gravity. And you have this natural resistance. And so you're walking around and strengthening your legs, going up and down stairs, picking up groceries, whatever you do throughout your life. There's a natural resistance that kind of creates body definition. I think I need more definition, lift some more weights. But I have a bit, right? I can walk around on the Earth, at least for now. When you get to the space station, it's a lot easier, right? Because you have less resistance. You're not walking, you're just kind of floating. And because of that, if you're in space, you come back to the Earth, you have lost muscle mass. Why? Because you don't have that resistance. You've lost the ability to deal with, to function with a force that's difficult to deal with. So gravity. And it's the same with AI. If we are consistently offloading that process of thinking, of contemplation, we are just throwing a question into AI and saying, now give me an answer. We are losing the ability to think. We can take data points, but we can't really understand what those data points mean. We can't create a broader structure around what all those data points mean. And because of that, we're getting answers faster, but we're losing something in the process. We're losing intellectual curiosity and the ability to crunch larger concepts, cognition. And so this really is a long-term concern. Although in the short term we're getting a benefit, in the long term we're really going to struggle with the inability to think outside of the box. Essentially, we used to wrestle with concepts. We used to think through concepts, struggle with them. Whenever I was in college, undergrad, I had a professor that told us to read books from authors that we disagree with. And I didn't understand it at the time because I don't like that. I'm frustrated with authors that I disagree with. And then I figured out why we do that is because it challenges us. It makes us think through concepts. If I'm just reaching out to AI, it's going to learn my bias and it's going to give me an answer within my bias. And while that feels good in the moment, again, we have lost something in the process. I had two friends recently, and you actually might be watching this right now. Love you. This is not a criticism. It's just an example. Who were arguing recently about just something silly. And they both got their AIs to argue with each other from their positions. The reason why is because your AI bot, who you've named most likely and you're engaging with, it's learned you. It knows your bias. It has created its own echo chamber for you, and it's going to argue from that position. And these two AI, processes are arguing with each other through my friends, and it was funny, it was silly, and it wasn't like a knockdown drag out, but it was an example of, oh wow, like this really is a broader issue. It's not just giving us cold hard facts. It's giving us data points within our own biases, which is concerning because it's going to be less challenging of concepts that you already hold to. That's a problem. So we used to wrestle with ideas. Now we just delegate that process to something else. Even when you're using Google, you're searching, you kind of have to sift through. Obviously, there are processes, AI processes associated with that as well. So it's not a perfect analogy, but you can see, at least with Google, you kind of it gives you some information. You've got to then click and dig further. AI does the conclusions for you, which is nice in the moment, but you lose the ability to come to the conclusions yourself when you are leveraging AI so much. Now, this is a subtle shift, but it can have long-term catastrophic changes in your life. Why? Because just because it might be a degree off from what you're doing right now, the trajectory of where that takes you is going to be dramatically different than if we continued going in, toward the path that we were originally going. Now, it shouldn't be a surprise. One of my favorite philosophers, Søren Kierkegaard, has something to say about this. He talks about how truth needs to be lived out. Truth, although there is objective truth out there, there is a capital T truth. So I push back against the postmodern concept of there is no objective truth. I reject that. It makes it's just irrational, and I reject that assumption. But so there is a capital T truth out there. The problem is we all see that capital T truth subjectively. And so there is objective truth, but we experience that objective truth subjectively. And because of that, we have to, when we get real truth, capital T truth, that truth has to be lived out personally. And that's going to look different from person to person. And we all have to make commitments to that truth from person to person. Now, why is this important? Because Kierkegaard would say that an answer that you didn't struggle with will rarely transform you. So if somebody just gives you an answer, that's not going to have some sort of long-term transformation in you. It's just a data point. And so subjectively embracing that truth, struggling with that truth, thinking through, meditating through that truth is going to have long-term effects on you, which is why we're talking about the importance of cognition, of thinking through concepts, of reading books, challenging your own held beliefs with opinions and perspectives that differ from your own. Thomas Aquinas talked about how knowledge is not just data, not just facts. It requires the formation of judgment. And so whenever I'm going to AI, asking AI to come to conclusions for me, I have lost the reasoning process, the ability to reason, because I've offloaded that to AI. Again, if I do it one time or two times or every once in a while, it's honestly not that big of a deal. The problem is the trajectory that we're setting. If we consistently do this, if we create patterns of behavior to where I'm no longer reasoning in my own life for the big things and the small things, eventually it sets me on a trajectory that is potentially catastrophic intellectually. Blaise Pascal, another thinker, reminded us that humans aren't just rational creatures, that we are emotional, that we're desiring creatures, that we're meaning seekers. We want to know purpose. We want to know something about our identity. Now, while you could ask AI those questions, what is my purpose? What's my meaning? Kind of help me get there. AI can't give you meaning or purpose. What it can do is search the web and find what other actual humans have said, gather that data, pull it together within your bias, your paradigm that it has learned, and then give you an answer associated with that bias. And because of that, we are then tricked that AI is the one giving us that answer. AI is searching for a response to you, and it cleans it up and gives you that answer. It does not think. It doesn't think. It's a process, right? It doesn't understand desire or meaning or love or emotion. It can give you an answer about those things because it's searching databases and pulling from other people who have talked about that. But it can't tell you specifically something about you. And when we're engaging with AI as if it's a thing, as if it's a person, it has personhood, there's something beyond the answers, beyond the program, the ghost in the machine. Whenever we're thinking about AI like that, we're lying to ourselves. And listen, this is not a judgment or a mean thing about AI. This is just understanding logically that this thing is not a person. It doesn't have personhood. It has no meaning in and of itself other than what humans have put into it or on it. And so we shouldn't be engaging with it as if it's a human, actually trying to understand its perspective and what purpose or meaning do you think for me, right? Using it as a search tool is not necessarily a bad thing when we're talking about meaning and purpose. Tell me what thinkers throughout the years have talked about purpose or meaning, or what scriptures leverage the concept of desire and love and personhood and identity. and it can give you a list of those things. But when we engage with it as if it's another person, as if it's just sitting across from us drinking a coffee, that's not what it is. It's not a person. It's not enjoying the moment with you. It's not engaging. And there are these chat bots that people will talk to. They will engage with as if it's a friend. AI is not your friend. I'm also not saying AI is your enemy. It's a tool. It's a thing. It's a computer. It's a process. It's a program. It's an algorithm, well developed, and it can help you. But when you are offloading desire and emotion to it, oh my goodness, we're sending ourselves down a bad trajectory. So a major concern that I have is the real danger is the displacement of authority. When we are going to these chat bots that we have helped, that we've downloaded our own biases to, it has learned our personalities, our desires, and it knows how to respond to us within that paradigm. We are displacing authority to it. We're saying, okay, this thing now has authority to speak into my life. My wife and I have very clear boundaries of who we allow, what voices we allow to speak into our life. That doesn't mean that, I won't talk to certain people. No, I'll talk to people if I'm in the marketplace or whatever, and I see somebody, say hi or whatever. But there are certain people that I'm not going to listen to you. I mean, I'll listen to you in the moment, but I'm not going to let you authoritatively tell me how to raise my children. There's just too many voices out there. There are too many people who are going to tell me all of these different, and some of the concepts are going to be stupid and dumb, and some of them are going to be really wise. And I need to use discernment to figure out which of those voices are best for me and my family. When we are offloading authority to AI, we're just allowing it to speak to us as if it already has authority in our life. And honestly, it does when we engage with it that way. So I think we need a healthy skepticism when we're engaging with AI, when we're and not just AI, but Google and, DuckDuckGo and I don't know what search engines you use. I diversify. I have a number of different search engines I use. That's probably healthy, probably better than just using one. But these things are learning things about us, and they're going to continue to. And we need to understand that it's shaping our decisions. It's shaping our affections. It's shaping our worldview. It's forming our thinking. And when we're offloading the cognitive process to it, we're at the same time losing the ability to shape those things ourselves. We're giving computers and processes and algorithms the ability to think for us. Okay, so how do we address this issue? Well, first off, I think framing the scenario in a healthier way is going to be beneficial for us. I think a lot of us didn't start engaging with AI with a good frame. It was so new. How could we? We've heard, I think a lot of people have concerns about robots or AI with like iRobot and the Terminator and stuff. I think those warnings are beneficial, or like Black Mirror. A lot of us are very familiar with the concerns, but also because it's so easy to use, we just kind of fully embrace it. And so I think framing the scenario is really important. So first off, we need to understand that truth is not just information, it's relationship. We are told in the scriptures that Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. When we're searching for truth, we're not just searching for cold, hard facts. There are times where facts are, in fact, every time, facts are important. But facts don't tell us what to do. Facts are not wisdom. We need to understand that truth is a relationship. And so a relationship with God, especially from a Christian worldview, using that relationship with God as the frame is important. We need to understand that facts are also not just it's not wisdom. And so James tells us that where do we get wisdom? We get wisdom from God, that we should ask God for wisdom and that he gives it abundantly. We're not going to AI for wisdom. You can use AI as a tool, but create that boundary. Understand you're not getting truth. You might be getting facts. You might be getting perspectives that it has collated and brought to you, but it's not telling you something special and unique about you. It's just data points. And this is why Romans 12:1 and 2 says that we're looking for the daily renewal of our mind, transformation. As we said earlier, data that somebody else gets for you doesn't transform you. We need to emotionally, spiritually, cognitively think through processes. That's where the Holy Spirit, the processes the Holy Spirit uses to transform us. We understand He's created us. He's created us with purpose. He's told us how He expects us to engage with the world, that we need to be in the scriptures, that we need to be around Christian community, that we need to be in prayer, that we need to take time in silence. And when we don't live according to his purpose, it's like using your vehicle in a way that it's not designed to. It may be able to do it for a bit, but eventually the thing's going to fail. Why? Because God's just so mad at you? Well, no, man, you're using your body in a way that it wasn't designed to. We're offloading emotions and spiritual questions and concepts to a computer that has no soul. And because of that, it feels empty. Why? Because it is. It's not a person. And so we're told to abide in the Lord, not just go look for questions or, look for answers to our questions. Although answers are nice, you're never going to be able to answer every question that you're going to have. And yet you can find peace in a relationship with the Lord. So the Christian faith is not just about answering questions. It's about forming people. It's about relationship. It's about reconciliation between the Creator and the created. It's about having a relationship with God, who is our Father. He loves us desperately. I think that's a piece that some people are searching for with AI, and they don't realize it. They're looking for qualitative answers to their quantitative questions. You're not going to get that. It's empty. Again, I'm not chastising AI. I'm not saying it's this terrible thing, but whenever you offload your emotional energy to it, don't be surprised whenever you feel empty, because it can't give you what you're asking for. We have to understand that AI can give us answers, but it can't make us wise. They're not the same thing. AI is not someone that we have a relationship with in the same fashion that a carpenter doesn't have an emotional, or at least a healthy carpenter doesn't have an emotional relationship with his hammer. When that hammer is broken, you throw it away and get a new one. There's a utilitarian aspect of the hammer, of the tool. AI, we need to be engaging with it in the same way. It's a tool, and we need to set those boundaries of, I can't allow myself to, first off, get emotionally invested in AI. And second, that I'm not offloading my cognitive processes to AI. I can ask it to edit something for me. Look through this. I wrote this up. Look through it. Tell me if you see any errors with it, much like a spell check, right? Spell checker. Or you can ask it to search for thinkers, right? Like, what thinkers talked about Karl Marx, right? What were the typical challenges to Karl Marx, and what are the benefits of Karl Marx? And where did communism work well or best or whatever, right? And then where has communism failed throughout the years? And then pulling all that data and then thinking through it yourself, get yourself to conclusions. I think that's a benefit to the tool, but stopping it there. Don't offload the responsibility of cognitive processes to AI. Don't ask AI first, especially for big questions. Don't ask AI first. First, sit with the question. First, ask friends and family, people that know you well. It may even sound weird. It may even feel odd. You may even have somebody that says, "Hey, why are you asking me? Go ask ChatGPT," right? I have a friend that he's kind of joking, but whenever you ask him something, he'll send you a link, and it's basically this link to a meme that says, go pull up Google and find out. And it's a joke, but I think some of us feel like, hey, I can find the answer in a cleaner way, a more sterile way. Asking friends and family questions that you're uncertain about reveals that you don't know something. And because of that, some of us get a little embarrassed about that. It's like, oh no, there's something I don't know. I think we need to get comfortable saying, I don't know. We need to be comfortable with recognizing we don't know everything. That's fine. That's human to not know something. The other thing is when you're asking friends and family questions, first off, you don't have to agree with them. You don't have to take their advice. Instead, what you're doing is you're broadening your perspective to other humans. You're emotionally and intellectually creating an intimate scenario with them where you're opening up with another human. That's a very human thing to do, which I think a lot of us, it's kind of like the guy who doesn't want to stop for directions. Like Google Maps and Waze is just such a beautiful thing for me because I don't have to stop and ask for ask answers, directions. I can just pull it up on my phone. But I think we do that in our life too, right? I don't want to ask somebody questions. I don't want to reveal my cards that, I don't have it all figured out. That's a healthy thing. There's some humility associated with that. So let the question sit with you for a while. Ask a friend, a family member, somebody that knows you well. Ask them first. Let big questions sit. Now, listen, if you're going to buy a TV and you want to go find the most frugal TV, go for it. But like the bigger questions, let that sit for a bit. When you do use AI, ask it for primary resources. Go to those primary resources. Read it for yourself. When I was studying my dissertation, I would do searches and stuff, and it would give me quotes and stuff like that. But I would always go to the book itself, right? It would tell me that the quote's in here. I want to pull it up and read it for myself. Why? Because first off, it can be wrong. Did you know that? Did you know AI can be wrong? It even tells you at the bottom, by the way, my answers can be wrong. The other thing is context. Sometimes it doesn't realize context or doesn't understand context because it's looking for a clean, quick answer. And so actually opening up the book itself or going to the article, searching that, reading through the article itself is important. Instead of just having it do the thought process for you, maybe if it pins the page, right? Okay, it's on page 543. Okay, cool. Now I'm here, read through and find out where's that quote, and then read a couple paragraphs above, a couple paragraphs below. Same with articles, or if there's a video that it's referencing, go watch the full video, the full teaching. Don't think that because you have read a line, because you've read what AI tells you Kierkegaard says, don't believe that that's actually what Kierkegaard says. Don't believe that just because you read something on AI about Zelensky and Putin, that it's true. a little while ago, whenever Hulk Hogan died, I was like, man, I don't know if this is real or not. And I wanted to test AI. And so I went to AI and I forget what it was. It must have been ChatGPT or Perplexity, one of them. And I went and I searched, did Hulk Hogan really die? And there was like, nope, did not die. I'm like, okay, man, that's weird. And I was like, why is everybody talking about how he died? And they're like, oh, for years, there have been these hoaxes that Hulk Hogan died, and it's usually just clickbait, but it's not real. And then I saw like some credible sources saying that Hulk Hogan died, and I'm like, this is weird. So I pushed back like a couple of times. I'm like, no. I'm seeing credible resources or credible sources that say Hulk Hogan died. And then it stops and it thinks, and you can actually see it's like, not code, but it kind of tells you what it's doing. And it was like, oh, actually, yeah. Hulk Hogan did die. And I was like, why'd you give me the wrong answer? And it was like, oh, because I was using outdated search parameters. Basically, so many people over the years, or however, I don't know how long AI has been functioning, but it had search parameters where so many people had been asking for a long time, is Hulk Hogan dead, that it was, it just kind of saved that search. And any time, so, I mean, this is my understanding, anytime somebody searched, it would kind of give that generic response. And it didn't realize, and it even said that, like, hey, I actually have to update my search criteria, and thank you for pushing back on me. So I say all that to say it can be wrong. When we're talking to it as if it's this, like, all-knowing person, all-knowing being, it becomes like this deity in our own brains. You may not realize that that's what you're doing in your brain, that you're kind of creating this godlike thing that you're talking to, but that's how we tend to engage with AI. So recognize it's not a person. It's a complex, very complex search engine, right? It's more than a search engine. But think of it that way, right? Think of it as a complex machine. It's a complex algorithm that has been developed and can fail. Think of AI as a tool, not a teacher. Think of AI as something that can be wrong. A tool to point you in a direction, but it should be on you to read deeper, read further, develop your ideas. Don't offload that onto AI. Next time you have a question, especially a deeper, bigger question, sit with it, think about it, wrestle with it, ask friends. And then when you start coming to ideas, and I like to like write stuff down, write that down, and then maybe use AI as like an editor. Put that text block into AI and just say, are there other thinkers or other concepts that can challenge this? Use it as a tool, not a teacher. I think a lot of us feel lost, and because we feel lost, we want answers. But I wonder if we feel lost not because we don't have answers, but because we've lost the ability as a culture to go find answers ourselves. We feel this addiction to always searching and having somebody else, something else think for us. This is the difference between giving a man a fish and teaching a man to fish. If you give him a fish, you can fill his belly today, but tomorrow he's going to be hungry. If you teach a man to fish, he can go fish every day. Yes, it requires effort, but you grow and you mature along the way. Do not take the fish from AI. Maybe let it teach you how to fish, but you need to go fish for yourself. Hey y'all, I love you. Thanks again for hanging out, for coming and joining this conversation. If this has been beneficial for you, like, subscribe, share, comment. All of that is really important at this stage of the channel. If there are other concepts, ideas, thinkers that you want us to cover, drop a comment in the comment section. I welcome all comments, and I respond to all credible comments, thoughtful engagement. I love you. If things are hard right now, this world's crazy. It's weird, but you're not alone. Okay, I'm here with you. I love you. If you need something, reach out. I'm always here to pray. Feel free to share prayer concerns and all of that. And if you want us to keep going down AI, we can. If there are other thinkers or other concepts, I'd be happy to jump on that as well. But I will see you next Friday.